Now at 10, it looks like we have a winter weather advisory, especially in our northern counties. I'm going to break this down for you.
Plus, when the temperatures drop, where can homeless people escape from the cold with decreased capacity at Joplin shelters? And Missouri lawmakers head back to Jeff City with a full plate. We'll preview this year's session that includes big items like COVID response and redistricting.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Temperatures are falling across the 4 states, and soon winter precipitation will too. This is KOAM News at 10. Let's check in with Doug Heddy for a first look.
Yeah, it's definitely turned out to be a cold day, cold night, temperatures into the 20s, and our northerly winds are picking up a little bit. So when it gets cold and it gets a little windy, then the wind chills start to drop, and that's the problem that we are going to see by morning. Also, a winter weather advisory in effect. This is mainly for our northern counties, and these are the areas that could see an inch plus of snow, but we're still going to get snow south of this: Pittsburgh, Joplin, Miami, Neosho, stretching back toward Parsons. Already we're getting some light little snow flurries popping up. Not a big deal, just some light little flurries kind of blowing around. Here's the main batch of snow out across north central Kansas, northwestern Kansas. This will slide south and east as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. But over the next several hours, I don't expect much, just some flurries kind of flying about. But after 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, we get these bands of light snow working in. You can see it doesn't affect northeastern Oklahoma too much, but bands of light snow continuing into the early morning hours for us tomorrow. Of course, we're going to talk about amounts and the cold temperatures coming up here in just a bit.
See you then. Thanks, Doug. As temperatures drop, there's concern for the area's homeless population and capacity at local shelters. While there was some concern the local shelters were at capacity, that is not the case. At Souls Harbor, the housing units are full, but the shelter is still able to house people. The executive director at Souls Harbor says they can house up to 35 people on a regular basis. When they reach that limit, they send people to their overflow units.
The overnight shelters are open when the temperatures become extreme. And I think Water Gardens is 25 and below, but we do 32 and below over here. So anything 32 degrees or less, then yeah, we certainly want you to come in off the street.
The overnight shelter at Souls Harbor opens at 6 and the cutoff is around 10 p.m., although they say they will still let people in later. Congressional redistricting, voting rights, abortion, and a whole lot of money will dominate the attention of Missouri lawmakers of the next 4.5 months. As of noon today, the annual session of the 101st Missouri General Assembly is in session. The session will be marked by time pressures and some really interesting political dynamics. Reporter Kermit Miller has more.
Lawmakers this year are under the gun to approve a supplemental budget that funds immediate education needs and Medicaid expansion, and to draw up new congressional districts in time for candidate filing.
The committee's been working for a long time on it. We're going to move as quickly as we can.
Last year, the majority Republicans could have approved any map they liked. But this year, Governor Mike Parson appointed 2 GOP members to administrative posts. Another House Republican passed away unexpectedly in October. And just today, 2 more resigned to take jobs in the private sector.
What an honor to serve in this building. That sometimes you got to know when to fold them, right?
And that leaves House Republicans 1 vote shy of their 2/3 supermajority. That's important because in order to get congressional redistricting on the books now and not delayed until the end of August after the primary elections, the majority will need to adopt an emergency clause. That requires a 2/3 majority, which gives the badly outnumbered House Democrats some leverage.
So we're going to be putting together a whole lot of asks as the time comes where they're going to need our votes for that emergency clause.
Republicans will want to tighten the rules for voting and initiative petitions, and some will push for a Texas-style abortion law. Parson also wants more money for state workers with a higher minimum wage for people at the bottom and a 5.5% cost of living adjustment for everyone.
The state government is having a hard time keeping employees, especially in pivotal roles. So we need to be responsive to that, and I think we will be.
The session will end this year on the 13th of May. The Alliance of Southwest Missouri is connecting area nonprofits with the tools and people they need to serve the community. They've created a Facebook page called Community Resources for Nonprofit Professionals. It's a forum for nonprofits to view job listings, classes, funding opportunities, and more.
A lot of those times are case managers, social workers, school counselors. So we're thinking, okay, well, this is a very niche group of people that we tend to work with. So, and a lot of that messaging comes through our Facebook, our Instagram, and the rest of our social media accounts. So that's why we thought if we have a Facebook group for it, they can communicate between themselves.
You'll find a link to the resource page in this story on our website, koamnewsnow.com. Freeman Health System, like companies all across the nation, is looking to fill several positions. The company hosted an open house and hiring fair at Pitt State's Bicknell Family Center for the Arts. Officials say they're looking to fill full and part-time positions, both clinical and non-clinical. However, in the time we were there, very few job candidates showed up for the event. Freeman Health employees we spoke to would not comment on the lack of attendance at the fair. The hospital system is far from the only company looking for employees right now. Analysts say a nationwide labor shortage is driven in part by early retirement. A record 4.5 million people left their jobs in November, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Employers did ramp up hiring in December at the fastest pace in months. According to payroll processor ADP, private companies added 807,000 positions last month, more than doubling expectations. New jobs were added across the board, but leisure and hospitality positions led the way. Nearly 6 years after a Miami, Oklahoma man stabbed an elderly man and then doused him with bleach, now that suspect learns his sentence. A judge sentences Brian Waterman to 36 years in prison for attempted murder and aggravated kidnapping. In 2016, Waterman broke into a Baxter Springs, Kansas home, repeatedly stabbed the resident, 78-year-old Bob Hopkins, then poured bleach on him. Hopkins survived the attack. Jurors convicted Waterman this past November. As COVID-19 spreads, thousands of schools across the country have canceled classes or are returning to remote learning. And the nation's highest profile music awards ceremony is being pushed back due to the nationwide spike in cases. Bradley Blackburn reports.
A CDC advisory panel has voted to recommend Pfizer's booster shot for children ages 12 to 15. The move comes as the Omicron variant continues its record-setting pace. A new CDC forecast says cases and hospitalizations will likely increase in the coming weeks, with D.C., New Jersey, Florida, Georgia, New York, and Maryland seeing the highest rates. The 7-day average of daily cases is up 98% from the previous week.
Way too many people are not taking it seriously.
In Los Angeles, what's believed to be the county's first known case of flu-rona was detected. That's when someone is infected by flu and coronavirus at the same time.
We're in contact with the mother and child is in good spirits at home and doing well.
Public school classes in Chicago were canceled Wednesday after the teachers union voted to reject in-person learning because of the nationwide COVID spike.
When our district was fully remote, our children suffered. And that fell most disproportionately on black and brown and poor kids across our district.
And the Grammys is among the latest major events to be postponed. In a statement, the Recording Academy and CBS said holding the ceremony on January 31st brings too many risks, given the uncertainty surrounding Omicron. A new date will be announced soon. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Tonight, CDC Director Rochelle Walensky formally approved the advisory panel's recommendation on Pfizer booster shots for 12 to 15-year-olds. In a statement, she said, "It is critical that we protect our children and teens from COVID-19 infection and the complications of severe disease." Still ahead, the show must go on. A scaled-down show, but a show nonetheless for CES in Las Vegas. And there's a new top dog in the automotive world. CES planned to make a triumphant return to the Las Vegas Strip this week, but Omicron changed the plans of many companies. A scaled-down show, missing some of tech's biggest names, is still underway in a hybrid format, setting the year's tech trends in real life and online. Karen Kafa has more.
The show must go on. That's the approach by CES, the global annual tech showcase hosted by the Consumer Technology Association.
We're bringing people together this week, hopefully lets us solve future problems. And again, getting us living, working, playing better, all thanks to technology.
After an all-virtual show last year, CES was supposed to return to full form on the Las Vegas Strip this week, but Omicron had other plans. Big names such as Amazon, Meta, and Google are participating virtually. So is General Motors, which took the reveal of its Chevrolet Silverado electric vehicle online. On the floor, which requires being vaccinated and masked, are names like Samsung, showing off a more affordable addition to its Galaxy S21 family of smartphones with the Galaxy S21 FE, and the Freestyle, a tiny home projector for movies, TV, and more. Beyond big names, CES spokesperson Allison Freed says in-person connections at the show are vital to small companies.
This is their time to shine. These are people who have brilliant, innovative ideas that are trying to get it to market. And that market is at CES.
That includes more in the fitness and health arena in the COVID-19 era.
Telemedicine, digital therapeutics, remote patient monitoring systems is a big deal right now as sensor technology is getting smaller and smaller.
The show will wrap up on Friday, one day earlier than initially planned. For Consumer Watch, I'm Karen Kafa.
Walmart wants to deliver your groceries right to your fridge. The retail giant announced its plans to hire more than 3,000 employees to help expand its in-home delivery service. Now, the new hires will reportedly be highly trained and equipped with 100% all-electric delivery vans, driving the company's mission of sustainable and innovative tech forward. The service costs about $20 a month and allows members to have groceries delivered and put directly into their fridges. Employees will take extra precautions such as wearing masks, wiping down surfaces, and using smart one-time access codes for entry. After nearly a century at the top, General Motors is no longer the leader in U.S. auto sales. Toyota has taken the top spot for the first time. The Japanese automaker yesterday reported U.S. sales 5% higher than GM. GM partly blamed manufacturing supply shortages for its decline, but Toyota also builds most of the vehicles it sells in the U.S. and America. Toyota says 70% of its vehicles sold in the country are built at 5 U.S. plants. Later, Pitt State basketball gets some firepower back just in time to take on rival Missouri Southern.
Plus, it gets even colder for us tonight, and a little bit of snow is going to rotate through. We're going to look at that coming up. Cold for us today. Temperatures struggling to get into the mid-30s during the afternoon. It's getting colder outside. It's going to continue to get colder as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. But winter weather advisory is in effect. This is our northern counties. So this would include Yates Center, Chanute, Iola, over toward Fort Scott, Nevada, El Dorado Springs, Stockton Lake. We're still going to get snow south of this, but these areas are going to have the heavier amounts as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. So far, we've had some light little flurries. Not a big deal, just light random flurries kind of pushing through. And we're not going to see much over the next few hours, just light flurries, and then we'll start to get bands of light snow working in. You can see this band sliding south and east, and this is the accumulating snow out across north central, northwestern parts of Kansas. But as of right now, we look okay if you don't mind the cold, because it is cold. Nice shot, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. Look at the temps. We're dropping lower 20s to mid 20s to upper 20s, but everybody will drop off about another 10 degrees for us tonight at the airport in Joplin. 24, humidity is at 55%. All right, let's go through the overnight hours. We're going to continue to have these light flurries over the next several hours, and then after midnight, we'll start to get some bands of light snow pushing through the region. I think our best chances for accumulating light snow is really going to be from 3 a.m. until about 6 a.m. But this is light snow, continues to work through. It doesn't really dive too far south into northeastern Oklahoma. Everybody's going to get at least flakes, but accumulating snow is going to stay a little bit farther toward the north. We'll still have some light snow showers and flurries around 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. Then we'll get rid of this. Clouds kind of hang tough most of the day. Temperatures struggle to warm up, only near 20 by noon. And I think most of us only top out about 23 or 24, so a cold day. 15 to start, 20 by noon, a little bit of sunshine during the afternoon, high temp at 24, but north winds 10 to 15. So when it's in the 20s, that puts your wind chill factors into the single digits during the day. A lot of clouds stick around tomorrow night. We drop right back into the teens, and then on Friday we start to get southerly winds back, and that will help our temperatures warm up just a bit by the time we head toward the weekend. All right, snowfall amounts. Northern counties 1 to 2 inches. Remember, the ground's cold, it's cold, so anything that falls will stick. So even if we get just a very little amount of snow, it could still make the roads kind of slippery. Most of us from like Chanute, Pittsburgh, through the metro are going to be probably a half an inch, maybe some isolated inch amounts. Independence, Miami, Grand Lake, toward Bentonville, a dusting upwards to a half an inch. So this is a very small storm, but again, you want to be very careful on the roadways. Also, you want to bundle up. Look at these wind chill factors by morning, 0 to -5 degrees, which stinks. 24 tomorrow, 14 tomorrow night, back to 39 on Friday, 48 on Saturday, with some showers working in for the weekend.
That morning wind chill is the kind you feel right down to your bones.
Yeah.
It hurts.
It's a good day to not go to work. Not that I condone that.
No.
So.
And we will be here.
Yeah, we will.
Otherwise, it looks really suspicious. Yep. If you know of an area business that excels at what they do, consider nominating them for KOAM's 4 States Finest. There are several categories to choose from. Each week, one lucky viewer who nominates a business will win $100. The nomination period lasts through January. Then in February, you'll be able to vote on the nominated organizations. Just go to our website, koamnewsnow.com/finest. You can also scan that QR code and it'll take you right there. Coming up in sports, a pair of Pittsburgh seniors signed to continue their football careers in Southeast Kansas. And Pitt State basketball gets one of its best players back for the final 2 months of the season. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
This week is rivalry week for Pitt State and Missouri Southern basketball. The two teams meet on Saturday in Joplin in their first of 2 scheduled meetings. On the men's side, there is some good news for Pittsburgh State heading into the final 2 months of the season. And that is, they're finally getting healthy. Forward Bobby Arthur Williams returned to the floor last week for the first time this season. Arthur Williams was the Gorillas' leading scorer last year. Now in his first game back, went out and posted 24 points and 10 rebounds against Missouri Western. Now, Pitt State has 14 games left, plenty of time to climb the MIAA standings, so having one of their best guys back will definitely give them a boost in the final 2 months.
He brings, versatility. He's a guy who can post up. He guys can shoot the perimeter shot. Maybe more than anything, he's an experienced guy that knows how to play. And, he was successful a year ago, an all-conference player. And, just having a guy like that back, I think makes not only me, but everyone else a little more comfortable on the floor.
It hurts because we were losing, and it's hard when you're a big contributor to the team and you can make a difference. But, I just kept my head down and waited for my time.
Pitt State will travel to Missouri Southern on Saturday. The women's game begins at 1:30 with the men's game scheduled after at 3:30. A pair of Pittsburgh high school seniors signed today to continue their football careers in college, and they're going to stay teammates. Rob Hollis and Caden Barber signed this afternoon to play at Coffeyville Community College next season. Now, Hollis did it all for Pittsburgh this season. He rushed for about 200 yards and 3 scores, playing both fullback and tight end. On defense, played defensive tackle, had 16 tackles and a forced fumble. Now, as for Barber, he actually missed his senior year due to injury, but the kid's a pretty good athlete. He'll play running back at Coffeyville, but both guys looking forward to staying teammates after high school.
Caden and I have been pretty close friends since I've been here, and even though we didn't get to play together, we worked out together a lot and done a lot of field work, stuff like that, so that'll definitely help a lot going into Coffeyville.
I'm definitely going to feel more comfortable at Coffeyville now I have a friend there, it'll be fun playing with them and see where we can go after this.
Coffeyville's a nationally ranked JUCO team, so that definitely helps with that a lot. Lots of colleges are looking at them. Lots of good guys have came out of Coffeyville. There's numerous NFL players that are playing even now and previously come through Coffeyville, so that helps a lot too.
The Kansas State Wildcats finished up the football season last night, topping LSU in the Texas Bowl 42-20. In that game, Malik Knowles got the Wildcats off to a hot start with 2 receiving touchdowns in the first half. And Deuce Vaughn had a monster night, scoring a K-State Bowl record 4 touchdowns. But at the end of the day, it was a nice way for 60-year quarterback Skylar Thompson to end his K-State career. Thompson came back from injury twice this season, but got to go out with a big win.
To see what he went through this year, getting nicked up early in the season, fighting his way back and playing well on one leg really, and then getting banged up late in the season. The kid just means the world to me. I love him. I love his family. He's been great to my kids and my wife, and to see him go out like that, because this game was huge for him too. He wanted to play well in this bowl game, and he did.
My ultimate goal was to be healthy for this game and to go out on my terms. You know, that was my biggest goal. Is I want to walk away from this on 2 feet standing and giving everything I got and get a bowl win.
And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news right after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Harry Owen served in the U.S. Navy. His hometown, Joplin, and we are proud to salute Harry Owen. He's tonight's 4-state hero. It's going to be more than cold in the morning. It's going to be bitterly cold in the morning. You're going to want to bundle up yourself and the kids.
Yeah, be careful on the roadways because we are going to get some snow. A lot of us, I would say on average, 1/2 inch to 1 inch of snow, which every single flake will stick. Because it's cold, it's going to be breezy, some wind chills, 0 to about -5. Snow will start to pick up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And a high temp of only 24, so it's not going anywhere for a couple days.
And you can't even play in that kind of snow.
No,
it's too cold and
it's
it
dry.
won't stick.
It's a dry snow.
Yeah. Final sports note.
The Kaminsky Classic begins tomorrow afternoon at Joplin High School. Joplin first game up at 2 o'clock. We'll have those highlights tomorrow night.
Thanks for joining us. Don't forget the morning show, 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.
Services